Hey guys, good morning. Sam here again with another session of useful common expressions. As you guys know, this will be our session number 5. And we finished our topics, our A topics, and we've moved into the B topics. And we are going to continue with the B topics today. Good morning to all of you guys joining in. Hi Khatere, hi Mosa. Sorry if I say your name wrong. Hi Puriya, Sahar, Ali Reza. Good to see you guys. Thank you for joining in. Mosa, I'm Iranian Canadian. I was born in Iran and then I grew up in Canada. Good. Thank you guys for joining in. If you guys missed any of my last sessions, they're going to be up on YouTube, on the English Turbo YouTube. I know the first session is up. I don't know if the second session is up yet, but Mr. Ashrafi is working hard to put those up. So hopefully they'll be up soon. I'm also going to, post all my sessions on my page for 24 hours and then put the notes up. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to put them on Instagram TV because every time I try, I get some technical difficulties. But hopefully you guys can find them on YouTube if you need them. It's very nice to meet you too, Mosa. Very nice to meet you. Hey, Mohammed. Hi. Good morning to all of you guys joining in. Thank you for joining me this morning. We're going to continue our common expressions, common English expressions, A to Z. We're still on the B topics right now. I think we're probably not going to finish them today, but hopefully we'll finish B tomorrow and we can move on. Hi, Rod and God Love IMK. Thank you for coming back. It's good to see you guys. I'm really happy you guys are here today. Okay, so the first topic we're going to cover today, last time we talked about being poor. So the first topic we're going to talk about today is being rich. So it should be it should be a lot better. It should be a lot more fun to talk about being rich than being poor. Hi Negan Lu, thank you for joining me today. Both my father and mom are Iranian, Mossab. We moved to Canada when I was very young, and I basically grew up in Canada. I went to school there, I went to university there, and I worked there for a while. Okay? Hello, guys. Thank you for joining in. Good morning. Okay, so as always, while I'm teaching, I'm going to turn off the comments. If you guys have any questions, you can write them down and you can ask me afterwards. I will turn on the comments in between all of our different topics, and hopefully, that will, you guys won't forget your questions, and that will be enough. Hi, Bahar Torbat and Harad. Oh, I said hi to you, but hi again. I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Mosa, I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Maybe you can rephrase that question. Okay, so hi Nagin. We're going to start this session. We're going to talk about expressions that we can use for talking about being rich, being, having a lot of money. Okay, so I'm going to turn off comments for now. If you have any questions, write it down and you can ask me afterwards. Okay, so as I said before, last session we talked about being poor, and today I wanted to start the session by talking about being rich. Now, when I say rich, I mean there's different levels of rich, right? So some people are really rich, some people are just, comfortably rich, okay? So the first expression is a wealthy person. A wealthy person. So when we say somebody is a wealthy person, it's just a general word we use to talk about, somebody who has a lot of money. It doesn't necessarily tell us how much money they have, but it tells us that, they are rich, they are wealthy. So for example, we say Tom is a wealthy person. He is a wealthy person. Okay? Now, the second expression is a little bit less strong than saying somebody is wealthy. We can say somebody is comfortably off. Comfortably off person. Okay? So, for example, we can say Tom is a comfortably off person, or we can just say Tom is comfortably off. Comfortably off. What this expression means is that the person has enough money that they don't need to worry about everyday things, they don't need to worry about their everyday life. And in general, they're not worried about money, okay? It's a little bit weaker than calling somebody a wealthy person, because being comfortably off just means, you have enough money that you have a comfortable life, okay? So for most people who, have a house, have a car, have a job, and they don't have to worry about money, we can say they are comfortably off, okay? Now, the next expression is when we talk about somebody's income, so how much money they make, we can say they are high earning. High earning. So somebody who is high earning makes a lot of money. Whatever their job is, they make a lot of money from it. So, for example, we say she is high earning. She has a high earning job. I have a high earning job. Okay? So we can use this both ways. We can say she is high earning or she has a high earning job. Both of them work. And what this expression, when we want to talk about how much money somebody makes from their job, we can use this expression. There is another expression that is similar to this that we used to talk about, the executives of a company. The executives of a company are basically the bosses. They're the people who run a company. We call them executives. So we say top earning executives. Top earning executives, okay? What the meaning of this expression is, executives are the bosses of a company, and top earning executives are the bosses who make a lot of money. Okay, so we can say she is a top earning executive. She is a top earning executive. Okay. Okay, so the next expression is something we use when we just want to talk about when somebody is doing okay for themselves. They have a lot of money, they don't worry about money at all. We say she is well off. She's well off, okay? This is kind of like saying they're comfortably off. Well off, comfortably off, okay? So Tom is well off, or Tom is well healed. Healed. This word healed, it sounds like somebody who is, recovering. That's not the way it's spelled. It's H-E-E-L-E-D. So when we say somebody is well healed, it's the same as saying they are well off. They have a lot of money. They're doing well for themselves. So, for example, one of your friends asks you about somebody. So they say, "Hey, can you tell me about that guy?" You say, "Yeah, that guy is well off. He is well healed." You're saying he makes a lot of money. Okay. The next expression is a very UK expression. It's an expression that's used in England. It's I'm not short of a bob or two. I'm not short of a bob or two. This is an informal expression, and it's basically saying, I have money. I don't worry about money. In the United States, a very, very informal slang way of saying, I have money or somebody has money is they use the expression ballin'. Ballin'. So we say he's ballin', it means he has a lot of money. This is really informal. This is more of a street talk sort of slang word. But, if you're talking to your friends about somebody who's rich, you can say, hey, that guy's ballin'. Or that's such a ballin' thing to do, okay? So ballin'. It's an expression usually used in the United States. The expression from the UK is, I'm not short of a bob or two, okay? Now, when we want to say somebody has a ridiculous amount of money, like a lot of money, they're not just well off, they're not just comfortably off, we can say, she's rolling in money. Tom's rolling in money. So, we can use this expression to talk about somebody who has a lot of money, or we can use it to talk about, ourselves in the future, that we're going to make a lot of money. For example, once I start working as a doctor, I'm going to be rolling in money. Okay? I'm going to be rolling in money. Another similar expression, that means somebody has, a lot of money, or not just a lot of money, but a ridiculous amount of money, is saying they're filthy rich. They're filthy rich. So, Tom's filthy rich. He's filthy rich. I'm going to be filthy rich. He used to be filthy rich. Okay? So when we say somebody is filthy rich, we mean they're a millionaire or something like that. Okay? They have a lot of money. And the next expression is something that is used to talk about people who just made a lot of money, who just became filthy rich, who just became rich, and they're spending their money like ridiculously fast, okay, at a fast pace. So we say so pay attention to this, they're nouveau riche. They're nouveau riche, okay? He is nouveau riche. She is a bit nouveau riche. The pronunciation is nouveau riche. Nouveau riche. Okay? Now, when we say somebody is nouveau riche, what we mean is that they didn't have a lot of money and then somehow they got rich. Okay? So maybe they won the lottery, maybe they got some inheritance. Somehow they made a lot of money and now they are rich. But usually this expression, we use it for somebody who is wasting their money, okay? Usually when we say somebody is nouveau riche, it means that they don't have good taste. They're wasting their money. They're buying things that people consider to be in bad taste, okay? So they're spending a lot of money and they usually have a bad taste, okay? Now, the next expression is, I'm sure you've heard it before, we call somebody a millionaire or a billionaire. Someone who's a millionaire, the name is obvious, it means they have millions of dollars, whatever. Someone who's a billionaire, they have billions of dollars, euros, pounds, whatever. So we can say, a friend of mine is a millionaire. He is a millionaire. I am going to be a millionaire. Okay? Or a billionaire. Both of them are similar. Now, there is another informal expression that is used to talk about the top executives, the bosses of companies, the big earners of some companies. They're usually called fat cats. Fat cats. Okay, this was a really common expression in the late 90s. And it's not as common these days, but you might hear it. So you might say, he's a fat cat. The fat cats make a lot of money. Okay, so usually when we hear this word fat cats, we think of executives of companies who make a lot of money. Okay, all right, guys. So I'm going to turn on comments. If you guys have any questions about these expressions, about how to talk about being well off, being rich, being wealthy, you can go ahead and ask them. For those of you guys who are just joining in, thank you for joining me. Good morning. Hi. Hey, Ruhollah. Thanks for being here. It's very nice of you guys to join me this morning. I hope you guys are finding these sessions to be useful. If you missed any previous sessions, don't worry. They are going to go up on YouTube at some point. I know the first one is up right now, but hopefully the next ones will be up soon as well, okay? Hi, Farkhunde. Hi, Farkhunde. Thank you for joining in. Good morning to you. Yeah, fat cat. It's a funny expression because when you think of a fat cat, you don't think of a rich guy, but it was used to talking about, it is used to talk about, the bosses of companies who make a lot of money. Puriya, I'm going to post my notes for each session. I posted right after the session. So take a look at my story and it'll have the spelling of all the expressions, okay? And for Novu Rish, the word is a little bit complicated, so I'll actually have the pronunciation beside it as well, so you guys can practice saying it. By the way, if you guys don't know how to pronounce something, the internet is a great resource. Just search the word. It'll tell you in whatever accent you want to learn. If you want to learn in a Australian accent, American accent, British accent, any accent you want to learn, you can find it on the internet. It's a beautiful resource. You can use it for any of the words that you're not sure how to pronounce, okay? So let's see. Which one are you? Well, I'm one of those people who hopes to be a millionaire. Hi, Dandy. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming back. No problem, Ruhola. I'm happy. Like I said, I'm really happy to help you guys, and I'm happy you guys are here. Okay, guys, so let's move on to the next topic. Now we're going to talk about some expressions we can use when we are sure or certain about something. When we feel confident about something, when we know 100% or we think it has a very high chance, okay? So I'm going to turn off comments. If you guys have any questions, please write them down and you can ask me after. Okay, here we go. So, usually when we want to talk about the level of confidence about something, we can use some expressions to let the listener know how sure we are, okay? So, the first expression is, I'm quite sure. I'm quite sure. Now, with this expression, afterwards you have to have some kind of a clause. Clause is a sentence, so you have to have a clause or a sentence that explains what you're sure about, okay? So, I'm quite sure I'm going to do well on the exam, okay? I'm quite sure it's going to rain today. All right, so this is a strong statement to make. It means I am very certain of something happening. The next expression is very similar. We can say, I'm absolutely positive she's positive. You can use the word absolutely to emphasize how sure you are of something. So if we say he's absolutely positive he's going to do well on the exam. She's positive it's going to rain today. It means that they're 100% sure, they have no doubt. The next expression is also the same. It's for talking about a high level of certainty. It's for talking about when you're really sure of something. You say, I'm fairly certain. I'm fairly certain. Instead of fairly, we can also use quiet. I'm quiet certain. I'm quiet certain. So we can, for example, we can say Tom's quiet certain that he will be late. We're waiting for Tom. He called us and he's quite sure that he's going to be late. Or she's fairly certain she got the job. She had an interview. She's fairly certain she got the job. I'm quite certain that I'm going to do well at this job. Okay? You can use this language if you're in like an interview, you want to talk about your own abilities, you want to impress the person you're talking to. I'm quite sure of myself. I'm absolutely positive I'm going to be an asset to your company. I'm fairly certain you can't find anyone better than me. Okay? You can use this kind of language to sound very sure of yourself, very confident. You can use it to talk about any topic you're discussing, maybe with your friends or at work. Maybe you're discussing what happened somewhere. You can say I'm fairly certain what happened is this. I'm absolutely positive the reason they did this was this. Okay? So very useful language. You can use it in many different situations. Anytime you want to talk about how sure you are of something, you can use one of these. Now, this next expression is a little bit less strong than the first three we learned. It must be right. Okay? It must be right. And when we use this expression, we're saying that something, we're not 100% sure. There is some doubt. It's very likely that it's right. So for example, Tom must be right. It is going to rain today. Okay? So Tom told us it's going to rain, and we're almost 100% sure that, he's right. He must be right. He probably did well on his test. Okay? So the next expression is also not as strong as the first ones, but when you're fairly confident in something, you can use it. I know something. I know something. So when we say I know something, there is a little bit of, it's not as confident, we're not as confident as if we say, I'm quite sure or I'm absolutely positive. So for example, if I say, I know I'm going to do well, she knows she has to study hard. Okay? This expression is still saying that we're certain of it, but we're not emphasizing how certain we are. I know is something we use a lot in our daily conversations. The meaning changes depending on the sentence. When we say I know I'm going to do well, it's similar to saying I'm certain I'm going to do well. I'm positive I'm going to do well. Okay? The next expression is it's definitely. It's definitely. So when we say something is definitely going to happen, we're saying, we think it has a very high chance of happening, 100% probably. So it's definitely going to rain today. It's definitely going to rain today. This exam is definitely going to be hard. the exam is definitely going to be hard. Okay? To use definitely, we need some subject, obviously to talk about it. So, the exam is definitely going to be hard. It's going to rain. It's definitely going to rain today. Okay? All right. So the next two expressions we're going to talk about, we use them to reassure other people who don't believe us. So maybe we know something, but somebody doesn't believe us. So we want to let them know, they can believe us. We can say, you can be sure. You can be sure. Okay? So for example, you can be sure it's going to be a hard exam. You can be sure it's going to be a hard exam. We use this expression, we're talking to somebody. So when we use you, we're talking to somebody who we're directly addressing, right? So you can be sure you won't do well if you don't study. You can be sure you won't do well if you don't study. Okay? You can be sure I'm going to be late. So we can use this language whenever we want to convince somebody of something we know. The next one is the same. It's I've no doubt at all that. I have no doubt at all that. I've no doubt at all that. So I've no doubt at all that it's going to rain today. I've no doubt at all that I passed the exam. I've no doubt at all that it's going to be a good day. Okay, something like that. So when you want to talk about something that you know and you want to convince somebody else, you can use this language. Now, this next one is when we want to talk about something, again, which we have a very high certainty of it being true, and we want to convince somebody else, we say, I'm 100% certain that. I'm 100% certain that. When we say I'm 100% certain that something is true, it means it's a fact, okay? Something, we don't use 100% unless it's a fact, or we're exaggerating if it's a fact. So I'm 100% certain that you're going to do well if you study hard, okay? I'm 100% certain that you're going to do well if you study hard. Okay, and the last expression is also very much the same as the I'm 100% certain. I'm convinced that you're going to do well if you study hard. I'm utterly convinced it's going to rain today. I'm utterly convinced. If you use this word utterly, it means I'm totally convinced. I am completely convinced. There's no doubt in my mind. So either I'm convinced or I'm utterly convinced. Okay? All right, so I'm going to open the comments. You guys can ask any questions you might have. And if you are just joining in, thank you for coming in today. Thank you for joining us. Good morning to you. Don't worry about missing the beginning of the session. I'm going to post it right after the live as my story, and you guys can watch it then. We just covered some expressions we can use to talk about how certain we are of something, how sure we are. If we know something to be true, we can talk about it as being 100% certain. These kind of expressions are used a lot in discussions when we're talking about a topic. If you want to convince somebody of something, you can use this kind of language. The first part, we talk about some expressions that you can use even to talk about yourself. If you're in an interview and you want to talk yourself up, you can definitely use some of this language. It makes you sound very confident. Just don't be wrong, because if you say 100% certain of something and you're wrong, it's going to have the opposite effect. It's going to make people think, oh, this guy doesn't know anything, right? Hey, Dijabeli. Sorry if I said your name wrong. Oh, hey, I talked to you in the PMs. Thank you for joining in. Nice to see you here. And hi, Sudabe. Okay, so the next topic we're going to cover is being worried. So sometimes, we are stressed or we are worried about something that's going to happen, and we want to use some expressions to express ourselves. Don't worry, Ruhola, I will post my notes and you can check the spellings, okay? Is there any app? Yeah, there are tons of apps, Zahra. It depends what you're trying to do. If you're trying to learn new words, there are some really good apps that teach you words, like WordUp. If you're trying to practice your speaking, there are some apps that you can use that connect you to other people who are trying to practice, and you can speak to them. It depends what you're looking for. There are lots of really, really good applications, and you should definitely do a search on the internet, because I don't know a lot of them. I can tell you some of the ones I know, but if you do a search, you're going to find the best ones for yourself. Yeah, it's nice to see you too. Thank you for joining in. And like I said, guys, don't worry about the spelling. I'm going to post this story for all these expressions. Just check my story out and you can write it down then, okay? All right. So as I was saying, when we want to talk about being worried about something, we can use these expressions to express, how worried we are that something is happening or is going to happen, okay? So I'm going to turn off comments for now. Please write down your questions and ask me afterwards if you have any. And let's get started. Okay. So the first expression we can use when we want to talk about, how worried we are, we can say, I'm worried about. I'm worried about. We can also change the subject. We can say, she's worried about, or he's worried about, or Tom's worried about, or mom's worried about, anything. And if you want to emphasize it, we can add a so. So I'm so worried about. Dad's so worried about. This is a really general statement. We use this language a lot in the English language when we're worried about something. So for example, I'm worried about my exam. She's worried about her mom. Okay? So anything that you're worrying about, you can use this language. The second one is when you have a fear of something. You can say, I'm afraid. I'm afraid. So for example, I'm afraid I'm going to fail my exam. Okay? I have a fear of not passing the exam. I'm afraid I'm going to fail my exam. Mom's afraid she's going to get lost. Okay, her mom is afraid she'll get lost. Mom's afraid she's going to get lost. All right. So the usage of this language is different, obviously. The first one, when we say I'm worried about something, it just means it's on my mind. It's bothering me. It's stressing me. When you say you're afraid something might happen, you're actually saying what you think might happen, okay? So you're not just worried, but you think something might happen and you're afraid of it, okay? So I'm afraid I'll fail. That's the difference. I'm afraid I'll fail, and I'm worried about the exam. The difference is when we're using I'm afraid, we're actually saying what could happen, okay? Now the next expression is when we want to talk about, what we're thinking about, what's on our mind, we use I can't help thinking. I can't help thinking. So what we say when we use this language, afterwards we have to use some kind of a clause to say what we can't help thinking about. So for example, I can't help thinking I'm going to fail my exam. Okay? Very much like I'm afraid. I can't help thinking she'll get lost. I can't help thinking something bad will happen. Now, if you want to use it like the first expression, we have to add about. So, I can't stop thinking about. I can't stop thinking about. So, I can't stop thinking about my exam. I can't stop thinking about her problem. She can't stop thinking about him. Okay, something like this. So the next expression, we use it when we're really worried about something and we want to emphasize how worried we are. So I've been worried sick about. I've been worried sick about. I have been worried sick about. Usually, when you're feeling worried for a long time, you use this kind of expression. So, I've been worried sick about my driving test, I've been worried sick about my exam. Anything that causes you to worry, you can use it. A lot of times, if your parents, or if you remember when you were kids, if your children are outside, and they're out really late, and you call them, they don't answer. When they get home, you say, I've been worried sick about you. I've been worried sick about you. Okay? So if you've been worried, something happened to them, you can use this kind of language to express how worried you were about somebody. The next expression is kind of similar. It's been keeping me awake at night. It's been keeping me awake at night. So when I want to tell somebody, I'm stressing out about something, they ask me, hey man, you have an exam tomorrow, right? And I say, yeah man, it's been keeping me awake at night. Okay, I can't sleep at night because I'm really worried about it. I'm stressing out about it. So it's been keeping me awake at night. And we also use this language when we just want to talk about, when we have a lot of stress, we can use it. So, for example, my business trip next week has been keeping me awake at night. Okay, I can't sleep because I keep on thinking about it. All right. Now, the next expression is used when we want to talk about something that is going to happen at some point, and we're worried about how we're going to react to it, how we're going to manage this situation. Okay. So, I'm scared stiff. I'm scared stiff that something's going to happen. Or, I'm scared to death that. I'm scared to death that. So maybe it's the first time you're meeting your friends, like parents. You say, I'm scared to death of meeting your parents. I'm scared stiff that I'm meeting your parents, okay? Or maybe, it's your first time driving. I'm scared to death that I'm going to be driving. I'm scared stiff that I'll drive, okay? The next expression can also be used to talk about your feelings right now. If you're feeling anxious, you can say, I'm really nervous. She's really nervous. Tom's really nervous. Being nervous is when you have a lot of anxiety, when you have a lot of stress about doing something. So, I'm really nervous in an interview. I'm having an interview, I'm really nervous. You can use it anytime, you have anxiety by itself. This expression, you don't need to add anything, you can just use it by itself. So your dad calls you, your dad says, hey, how are you doing? You say, I'm really nervous, Dad, I have an exam coming up. Okay? Or how do you feel about your driving test? I'm really nervous about it. So that's some examples of how you can use it. It's a very common expression, guys. You can definitely use this word use this expression a lot in your daily conversations, because anything that stresses you out, you can say, I'm really nervous about it. The next expression is kind of the same. It's, I've got butterflies in my stomach. I've got butterflies in my stomach. Now, sometimes we use this expression to talk about something good, but usually when we say I've got butterflies in my stomach, it means I'm really nervous about something. When we say I got butterflies in my stomach, it's like that strange feeling you get in your gut when you're nervous, when it just feels like not nauseous, but it feels like you're going to be sick, something like that. So when you say I've got butterflies in my stomach, it means I'm really nervous right now. Again, you can use this expression without adding anything, okay? So your friend asks you, hey, how are you doing? Are you ready for your interview? You say, I'm ready, but I've got butterflies in my stomach. It means I'm ready, but I'm really nervous about it. Or maybe you're meeting somebody for the first time and you tell, I've got butterflies in my stomach. I don't know how this is going to go. The last expression is when something unavoidable is going to happen. So when something bad is going to happen, or something that you think is going to be bad, you can use this, I'm absolutely dreading. She's absolutely dreading. And then you have to add a noun clause for this one. So, I'm absolutely dreading the exam. She's absolutely dreading meeting his parents. So some event that is going to happen and you're just not looking forward to it. I'm absolutely dreading the end of this month because I have to pay bills. So you can use this expression to talk about anything that you're not looking forward to, okay? All right, guys, so I'm going to turn on comments. If you guys have any questions about any of the expressions we talked about so far, you can go ahead and ask it. If you guys joined us during the lesson, thank you for joining me. Good morning to you. Hi. I hope you guys can join me tomorrow as well. Oh, before I forget, because I was going to say this at the beginning of the session, but I forgot. On Monday, I mentioned this last session, I'll say it again. On Monday, I'm not going to be able to do the live session at 11 a.m. So on Monday this week, don't expect me to go live at 11. I might make up for it at some point in the day on Monday. I don't know exactly when I'll have a chance to do it, but I will definitely try to do it, okay? So on Monday morning, I won't be able to do the live session. Good morning to you, Mitra Gisu. Thank you for joining me. It's really good to have you here. All right, so the next expression we're going to talk about, the next topic we're going to talk about is when something is really boring. When something is boring and it makes us tired, Hey, Hamid Reza, thank you for joining in. And hi, Fariba. So when something is really boring and we want to tell somebody, it's boring, or when somebody is really boring, be careful though, guys, because it's considered to be rude to tell somebody they're boring, so you don't want to offend somebody. But sometimes, you just want to tell somebody how you feel. Hi, Elahe and Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Good morning to you guys. I hope you guys are doing well. All right. Your live is perfect. Thank you, Ruola. It's very kind of you to say that. I really appreciate all your positive feedback, guys. It makes me feel really good, and I'm happy to be able to help you guys. Okay, so I'm going to turn off comments. If you have any questions, as always, ask me afterwards. And we're going to discuss how we can talk about boring things. Okay, so as I said, it is, sometimes somebody is really excited about something, but you think it's boring. Or sometimes somebody is really boring and you want to talk about it. These expressions, don't say it to somebody's face unless you're friends with them, because it can be offensive, okay? All right, so the first expression is how boring, or how tedious, or how dull. So boring, tedious, dull all have, they're synonyms of each other. They all mean something is really tiresome, something is not exciting. It's the opposite of exciting, okay? So how boring, how tedious, how dull. So you can usually say this to somebody who agrees with you, okay? You don't say this to somebody who is boring. You say this. So, for example, if you go to some movie with your friends and you think the movie is boring, you can say, how boring, man. And, you know, your friends agree with you. Or how dull is this movie? How tedious is this? Or you go to a lecture, maybe you're a university student, and you're sitting there, your professor is lecturing you, you're falling asleep. You know, your friend says to you, man, how boring is this? How tedious is this? How dull is this? Okay. Now, the next expression, we use it to talk about a person specifically. So this expression is usually used to talk about a person. When we say, what a bore. What a bore. A bore is a noun that we use to talk about someone who's boring. So, you know, you're sitting in your lecture, you're falling asleep, and your friend looks at you and says, what a bore. You know, they're talking about the professor. Or, you know, somebody is talking constantly. You whisper in your friend's ear, you know, what a bore. This guy's so boring. What a bore. You can also use this word bored just to describe somebody. So you can say Tom is a bore. You know, Tom is boring. The next expression is when you want to emphasize how bored you are, you say, it bores me to tears. You know, it's so boring, it's making me cry. It bores me to tears. So, for example, that movie bores me to tears. It's such a boring movie. Or, our math lectures bore me to tears. So they're really boring. It's something that's really boring. Talking to that guy bores me to tears. He's such a bore. That guy is really boring. Now, you know, sometimes we don't want to just say it's boring. We just want to say I have no feelings about it. So these next two expressions are used then when you want to say I just don't have any feelings about it. You can say it leaves me cold. It leaves me cold. This expression means that it just doesn't give me any feelings, okay? The next one is the same as well. It does nothing for me. It does nothing for me. Now, this second expression is actually more common than the first one. When we want to talk about like something that we just don't feel anything about, like these two expressions, we can use it in a discussion. For example, your friends ask you, hey, how did you like that movie? You say, it leaves me cold. You know, that movie leaves me cold. It wasn't very exciting. Or you can say, it does nothing for me. You know, that movie did nothing for me. You can use it in an expression to, you can use it in a discussion to let people know something was boring or didn't do anything for you. You can say like, you know, talk about an activity. Like, for example, bird watching does nothing for me. Bird watching does nothing for me. I don't find it exciting. It's not my thing, okay? So it does nothing for me. Okay. Now, this next expression is, we use it when we want to describe an activity that is boring, okay? It's as dull as ditch water. It's as dull as ditch water. So when we want to talk about some activity that is boring, we say it's dull as ditch water. For example, maybe we don't like painting. We say like painting is as dull as ditch water. You know, it's not exciting at all. It's really boring. Or, you know, we can say, I don't know, like reading is as dull as ditch water, something like that. Okay. We can even describe some nouns with it, like that movie was as dull as ditch water. It was so boring. Okay. Now, if a lot of people are excited about something and you want to say, I'm not really excited about this. I think it's boring. Why are you guys excited? You can say, I can't see what all the fuss is about. I can't see what all the fuss is about. So for example, there's some movie out that everybody is loving, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Everybody loves that movie, but you just don't find it exciting. You're like, I can't see what all the fuss is about. Why is everybody excited about this movie? Or maybe there is a comedian everybody thinks is funny, but you don't think they're funny. You say, I don't see what all the fuss is about. I don't know why everybody thinks that this is interesting or funny or, good or whatever. Maybe it's a food that everybody loves to eat, and then you eat it and you're like, man, that wasn't good. So you say, I don't see what all the fuss is about. Okay? The next expression is you want to talk about, again, some activity or something. You want to describe how exciting it is. You say, it's as interesting as watching paint dry. It's as interesting as watching paint dry. This is saying that something is really boring. If you watch paint dry, it's very boring. Nobody likes to do it. Nobody paints something and then watches it dry because it's boring. So, and this is a really common expression, watching is something being as interesting as watching paint dry. So, for example, that movie is as interesting as watching paint dry. I'd rather just watch paint dry. That guy, Tom, is as interesting as watching paint dry. Talking with Tom is as interesting as watching paint dry. Okay? So, if somebody asks your opinion about something, hey, what did you think of that movie? Or what did you think of that comedian? You can say, it was as interesting as watching paint dry. It wasn't very interesting. It was boring to me. It was extremely boring to me. Now, the last two expressions I want to talk about. Now, all the ones we talked about so far, it can be offensive. If you tell this to somebody, people don't like to be told that they're boring. Right? If I have a show and you come and tell me, your show was as interesting as watching paint dry, it's going to hurt my feelings, right? I'm going to say, oh man, that hurts. What do you mean I'm boring? So usually, all the expressions we talked about so far, we usually use it to talk to people who share our interest or won't get offended if we tell them something was boring, okay? Now, these last two expressions are very formal and polite way of saying you don't find something interesting, of saying something is boring, okay? So the first one is, I'm afraid I don't share your enthusiasm. I'm afraid I don't share your enthusiasm. We use this expression when some people are really excited about something else, but you just don't find it to be interesting. You think it's really boring. But you don't want to be offensive, right? You don't want to hurt their feelings. So you want to say it's boring, but you don't want them to get hurt. So you can say, I'm afraid I don't share your enthusiasm about that movie. I'm afraid I don't share your enthusiasm about that class. So whatever you don't think is interesting, you can just say that. Maybe somebody asks you, man, did you see the new Star Wars movie? It was such a good movie. And you say, I'm afraid I don't share your enthusiasm. I don't think it was such a good movie. So very polite, very formal way. You can use this at a work setting in, when you're talking to somebody you don't want to be offensive towards. It is a very polite way of saying you're not interested in something. And the next one is, I can't say that I find it interesting. So, when you want to tell somebody you're just not interested in it and you don't want to be informal, casual, or impolite, you say, I can't say that I find it interesting. Like somebody asks you, hey, do you like tennis? No, I can't say I find it interesting. It's not a very interesting thing for me. Did you like that movie? I can't say I found it interesting. Okay, so when you want to be polite, when you want to be, you're in a formal setting, like you're at your job, you're talking to your boss, you know, you're at a meeting and something like that, you can use these last two expressions so you're not impolite and you don't hurt anybody's feelings. Okay, all right, I'm going to turn on comments again. And for those of you who just joined in, thank you very much for coming in today, joining us for this live. Good morning to you. Oh, I missed your message last time, Majon. Good morning to you. Thank you very much for your kind words. You're awesome. It makes me really happy when you say things like that, guys. So I hope you guys found today's session to be useful. Please join me tomorrow at 11 a.m. Again, I'm going to have another session that we're going to continue with our be phrases. If you guys are finding these sessions to be useful, you know, and you have some friends or family who want to learn English, please share my my Instagram with them. Let them know that I'm going live every day at 11. I would love to have more people in here, and so we can have more conversations and things like that. If you guys have some feedback for me, or you know, want to tell me something I can do better, feel free to send me a message on Instagram. Ali Reza, I will try. I will absolutely try to slow down. I'm sorry if I speak too fast. Sometimes I get excited and I just keep on going. So I'm sorry about that, but I will definitely try to slow down a little bit more. And thank you guys again for coming in and spending your mornings with me. You guys are awesome. It makes me really happy to see that some of you guys are returning. You know, when I see a name, I recognize it, and it makes me feel good. I'm like, hey, that guy enjoyed my session and he came back, or she came back. Okay, so if you guys don't have any questions about any of our expressions, I'm probably going to end the live here. Remember, if you missed any of the previous sessions, you can find them on YouTube. I'm going to post my notes for this live session in a little bit. If you need to check your spelling, if you want to check any of the words, go ahead and check out the notes. Session 4, please don't. Oh, you didn't write the session 4 yet? I don't know when that one's going to go down. Look up. Maybe I'll make a post with my notes as well. Maybe that will be better if I make a post about it. That way it'll stay up and you guys can write it down. And you know, you can use the notes then. Can you give some practices? Well, for these kind of expressions, Sarah, you have to practice it, and usually you have to practice it in a conversation, right? So there are some applications that you can use to connect to other people and speak English to them, and you can try to use these expressions there. If you want to practice at home, you don't have anybody to talk to, you can write sentences with these expressions, okay? How long does it take you living in Canada? I think what you're asking is, I lived in Canada for more than 20 years, okay? So I lived in Canada for 22 or 23 years. I don't remember exactly. Will you save your live? Yes, absolutely, Ruhola. I'm saving the lives. They'll be on my Instagram page for 24 hours, and also they are going to get uploaded on our YouTube channel, okay? All right, so thanks a lot for joining me, guys. Take care of yourselves and have a great day. I will see you guys tomorrow morning at 11.